Good morning. Welcome to the McLean County Chamber of Commerce Member Ed on better remote meetings via Teams. We're joined today by Brandy Finney with Integrity Technology Solutions to discuss how you can better utilize Microsoft Teams to streamline your meetings. Before we dive into our topic today, we want to recognize our April Video Resource Library sponsor, the Shirk Family Foundation. By sponsoring our educational programs, the Chamber is able to provide member eds and town halls for membership free of charge. All member ed and town hall presentations can be found on our social media platforms, but also on our video resource library at mcleancochamber.org. Thank you again to all of our sponsors of the video resource library. Okay, and so we're going to turn it over to Brandy. Hi, Brandy. We're excited to learn some tips to better use Teams for remote meetings.
Hello. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen here. And it's very interesting. Well, first of all, my name is Brandy. I'm with Integrity Technology Solutions. I was asked to provide some additional information on joining Teams meetings and how to better improve some of those quality of those meetings. We are using Zoom, so bear with me as I adjust to screen sharing. I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation here. And just so you're aware, we're going to go through a quick presentation, and then we're going to go through a live demo so you can see it in real life and get some good feel on how this is going to work out for you. Let's see, we want screen number 1. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. And are you seeing the presentation now? Okay, good. So today we're going to be covering Microsoft Teams. I do have training in there, so more of an informational. What you all probably should know and already know is that Teams apps are available on any device that has access to the web. So if you have a mobile device, a computer, any web browser, Macs, smartphones, tablets, you will have access to the Teams app. So you can connect via the browser or you can download that app. And also Microsoft has their other apps available on devices also. So I really feel like I should let you know really about Teams. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, what is Teams? I don't know if you remember, there was Skype out there for chat. Well, what Microsoft did is they took all of their Office applications and integrated it into one window interface. So now you have your chat, you have your calendar, you have access to your files, and then other Office applications and third-party applications. We won't cover any of those, but just thought it was important to bring that up. So what we're going to be covering today is I'm going to show you some basic navigation inside of the Teams application, some different settings to help improve your meetings, and then just going through some meetings, joining the meeting. Some people are confused when clicking on that link, like, do I allow access to my camera? Do I not allow access to it? And there's a panic phase in there. Just different meeting features, recording meetings, how to access those recorded meetings and sharing them. So this very first slide here, we have down your navigation. So if you look down the left side of the Teams, this is the display channel here. You can see that you have your activity, your chat, your Teams, your calendar. If you have the call feature, you have that available in your files. Then in the upper right-hand corner, you have there'll be initials. This says IC. It's one of our accounts that we use, but that's where your profile is. And so you can go into there for your settings. So profile settings. You click on your profile, click on those initials, you're going to get this pop-up here. I don't know if you guys have worked with Teams very much, but you're going to notice the different additional features here that weren't available previously. We have the accounts and organizations. Say that you are another organization had invited you to a Teams channel and you are collaborating inside of a Teams channel, you're sharing files. Now you can easily switch between those organizations by clicking on that accounts and organizations and flipping back and forth between them. Or if you work for multiple organizations that utilizes Teams, now you can quickly flip between them also. Want to go back up to the top where you can see the availability. You have the option to change whether you're available or a do not disturb status. I usually like to set a nice little message if I'm in a do not disturb status. The reason why I'm in that status is, usually presenting. So you don't want to get some notifications popping up while you're presenting. Also with the availability, if you have something on your Outlook calendar, it's going to show up that you're busy by default. So if you want to make yourself available, you can update those statuses, but so you are aware that those are based upon your Outlook calendar. Let's see. We have our, we're going to go through the specific settings that you have available to you. Advise people to go through there and set their defaults up before joining meetings or even testing before joining meetings. The other one I want to point out is to check for updates. If you are going to be presenting, I always recommend clicking that check for updates, and you can continue to work inside of Teams while it checks for those updates. But then after it's done checking for those updates, close out of Teams and reopen up Teams. I've kind of been stuck where that there was an update that rolled out and it just didn't push out to me and I wasn't able to record my training. So you just want to check for those updates. It's really quick and simple. Another thing that you have available is your sign out option. If you're having any issues with any Office applications, number one default is sign out of it and sign back in. It's kind of like our basic IT, reboot your computer. Have you started it over? You're always going to have that option also. So your device settings, when you go in and you're going to see at the very top, you have your general settings. That's where you're going to have like your theme. You can change your language. A theme is like your dark mode or in the lighter modes that you can change their language settings. Privacy, that would be if you are in that do not disturb status, then you can set up if there's someone who you want to be able to disturb you when you're in that privacy settings. So you can allow them any notifications to come through from them. Again, notifications is very specific to Teams channels or chats and meetings. You can say how you want your notifications to be delivered. Do you want a little pop-up to show up at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen? Do you want to receive an email notification? You can set those inside of your profile settings feature portion. Then your device settings. I always kind of like this device settings one. By default, I already know that I'm going to run into problems because I go back and forth between my headphones. And if I was last connected on my headphones, it's going to automatically go to my headphones. So whenever I'm joining, I automatically change that over to my to the correct headphones, microphone, or speakers. Another thing to look out for is if you have a USB, say you have a mouse that has a USB port and it's plugged into your computer, sometimes it will set to automatically connect to that Bluetooth device or your USB device. It's trying to pick that up and thinks it's I sometimes can't differentiate between a mouse and an audio device. So this is where you can check out those, what your default settings are and what you're going to join the meeting with. Also, you can test making a call. So if you're wondering, do I have audio? Do I have video? You can test by making those calls. The noise suppression portion is a new feature that has rolled out in the last couple of months. This is really helpful. They do have where you can do like an auto, so it will flip over and auto detect any noises. I just automatically have mine on high. I haven't ran into any issues with it being on high, so if you have that available, go ahead and switch that over immediately. Low, I'm not quite sure why you would need low noise suppression, unless you're having some, if there's some crackling, if there's just some weird audio sounds, that might be an option you can choose. You can just go and click it over and see if that will alleviate any noise and audio issues. So teams, meetings inside of Teams, you have several different ways to start a meeting. I know we didn't have this on our list of topics, but I really wanted to point this out that those of you who are already using Teams and you've created some Teams channels, then you have that ability to start a meeting, like an instant meeting right then and there through that Teams channel conversation. Through chat, say you're having a one-on-one chat with somebody and you need to have a conversation or you need to do a screen share, you can start a meeting right from your chat screen. And then obviously you have your meetings that you've already received an invite for, or you've sent an invite out. You have the ability to access that meeting inside of Outlook or inside of Teams, and they're fully integrated. They never had any issues with it syncing across to one another applications. We're going to jump right into these scheduling and meetings. So you can schedule your meetings directly through Teams and Outlook, as I previously said. What you're going to notice is when you're very first setting up that meeting, you're not going to see that meeting options. Like, how do I set up, who can join right away? How do I set up who is able to present? You have to schedule that meeting first, and then you go back in to your meeting options. This isn't the prettiest slide, but I wanted to really give you a side-by-side comparison of what this looks like. So, this is my meeting Outlook inside of Outlook, and then this is my meeting inside of Teams. Inside of Outlook, you can see that you can click on that join via Teams. If you join via Teams, it doesn't take you to the browser and open it up there and then ask you how you want to join. Next to that, join Teams meeting, you have your settings. This is where you're going to go in and you can manage. Do you want people to wait inside of the lobby? Always, always, always. I like to, we by default have our setup that anybody outside of our organization has to wait in the lobby and you admit them. Now, you also have the ability to announce callers when they're entering the call or when they're leaving a call. So you can set those up at that time also. There's obviously some benefits to it and there's some downfalls to it. The good part about it is when you do set up that announcing, having people wait in the lobby, is that anybody can admit them into the meeting. The presenter does not have to. You have your meeting notes right there available inside of Outlook. So if you want to start some meeting notes, you can start that out. Those are your notes. You can share them later on if you'd like, but you have the ability to start your meeting notes there. And then they will be available inside of Teams also. If you want to send a contact, some communication out to the team before you actually start that meeting, you have that ability to contact and send an email to everyone who's going to be attending. If you wanted to share the presentation ahead of time, or you just, hey, we need to adjust this meeting by 5 minutes. You have those options available. Now, in the team side of things, you have a few more options here. You have your chat right there where you can chat with your team. You have, if you have any files that you're sharing with your team, you can share it directly through that meeting and it will be available for that meeting. So you can upload them ahead of time, and anybody who clicks on that meeting option inside of Teams, they can view and access those files. You have your scheduling assistant. That's very common for your meetings inside of Office 365. Again, you have your meeting notes available to you, and then the whiteboard feature. The whiteboard feature, I think, is probably the least utilized in our environment right now. I'm a visual person, so I find it helpful to use a whiteboard when you need to give a visual aid to somebody. It's just like if you're old school. I shouldn't even say old school, but now that we're into technology, it seems a little old school. But you have that whiteboard option. Then below that, you have your canceling meeting, and then the copy the link. The copy the link is if you want to send the link to somebody who needs to be in the meeting, you can send that to them. And then at the very bottom, the far right, is where you have those meeting options. Again, that's where you're going to set up who's going to be able to attend that, be directly admitted, or do they have to wait in the lobby? Who's going to be able to present? Is it everybody, or is it only people inside of the organization? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So how to join a meeting. You can join via your Outlook calendar, how we just walked through, or via Teams. I personally prefer joining via Teams because I'm in out of Teams all day long. And so it's just easier for me to do that. Obviously, if you do not have Office 365, you have the ability, the calendar invite is on your inside of your calendar. When you open up that calendar invite, you're going to have the link. When you click on a link, this is the options that you're going to have, especially if you have not already joined a Teams meeting. You're going to have the option to download the Windows application, continue inside of the browser, or open inside of your Teams app. I recommend if you have the Teams app, by all means, open up inside of your Teams application. You have the full features there. If you do not have it, you do have the option to download that app. And if you have those abilities on your computer, I know some people's work computers limit them. If they do not have Office 365, they won't be able to download that, possibly just due to permissions. So if you continue in the browser, your next screen that you get up is this Microsoft Team wants to use your microphone and your camera. A lot of people hesitate when they are going to, allow or block, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to join this meeting right now and have my camera on. There's that panic phase of like, am I going to say something? Am I going to look funny in this, as soon as I click this allow? Always click allow. When you click allow, you're going to go ahead and join that meeting. And then you're going to have that option to say, do you want to join with your camera and your audio? Otherwise, if you don't join with that, I will show you what that looks like. And so you'll have to go back through and click additional options, and it could get confusing to some people. So when you click that allow, that's just allowing that, yes, I'm granting Teams access to my camera and my microphone. But then once you click that, you will have the option to say how you want to join the meeting. So your meeting features here, you have your camera set, your camera, your microphone, your screen sharing, the hand raise. Hand raise is a great feature. It's kind of hard for a presenter though, whenever that hand raise feature comes up, because we don't get a notification. I put in a request for that, because it's like, it would be nice to get a little bit of notification that there is someone raising their hand. Otherwise, you don't see that until after the presentation is done, or if you have that chat box open. I'll show you what that looks like also. You also have the ability to view your chat box. So if there's some communication going on back and forth, if you have questions, say you have somebody who is joined on a computer that doesn't have a camera or microphone, and they didn't call in, you don't have the audio conferencing, so you don't have a conference line. This way you can communicate with them still via chat. Then the little people button, you have your participants. So you can view who's participating. You can even call people who haven't joined the meeting yet. This is where you're going to see who raised their hand, who had that question in there. And you're probably going to notice that I missed a portion here. It's going to look like I forgot something. The ellipsis. What is the ellipsis? That's at 3 little dots. Microsoft loves their ellipsis. If you are ever confused about what you should do, or you're missing a feature and you can't find it, click on those 3 dots. There's so many more options. When you click on that option inside of a Teams meeting, this again, say that you thought you had your audio device and your video device set up correctly, but it's still not working. Click on that ellipsis, go to your device settings, and then change your audio devices or your video devices. I will have to say there was the strangest feature going on, like with my audio devices. Don't know if it's a computer thing or what, but for some reason, my audio would mess up an entire Teams meeting, and I would go in there and I would click on the exact same audio device that it needed to be on, and it would fix it. So resolve the issue. So if you're thinking, well, it's set up correctly, just appease it and click it, and sometimes it will resolve that issue. Your meeting notes, this is where you can click and start your meeting notes. The details is just the details of the meeting here, nothing really big. Your background features, so you can apply background. So you don't want to invite people into your home, or you have family members who are, possibly going to run in and out. You have the ability to apply those background features. They have some, I say like inbox backgrounds, but you can also upload some. You have the start recording. Whenever you start a recording, you are going to get a notification, and everyone else will get a notification that the recording has started. So from there, you'll get that notification. The recording will not end until you click end or until you end the meeting. So this is the notification that you'll receive. It's really simple. It's going to tell you your time starting for that. What's really nice is that Microsoft has, before, whenever your recording was completed, you would get your email notification, and then it would go into what is called Microsoft Stream. Kind of confused people. I preferred it that way just because I knew what I was doing, but now you can get it inside of your inside of OneDrive. So you can now share directly, you can share that meeting directly with external people. But you do have that. And also another great feature is there's transcripts. Say that you watched a presentation and they recorded it and there was transcripts turned on for that. You have the ability, like if there's part you want to go back and rewatch, you have the ability to find that timestamp of when that communication was going on. And you can go back to that recording, that part of the recording, and rewatch it. Screen sharing. So this can be kind of confusing. I know people kind of stumble over screen sharing. It's a universal button. It has that little, the square with the up arrow or down arrow. For the biggest thing with screen sharing is like, what do I want to share? Do I want to share my desktop? How many desktop options do I have? Do I have 3 monitors? Which one am I going to be presenting off of? So you want to share that monitor that you're going to be sharing off of. Or say that you just want to be sharing, you just want to share a presentation. You can choose your presentation and only share that presentation. So you can have other options open, other applications open, and you can then work on that if you have those abilities to multitask by presenting and reviewing other applications. And then you have your whiteboard option also. Oh, to go back, this is the other part. If you have a presentation or you want to be showing a recording of a video and it has audio, at this very top here, you're going to see the include computer sound. You want to turn that on. So if you're going to be showing a recording that has that audio, if that is not turned on, you will not get that. It will not just present the audio portion of it. So how do I access and share Teams recordings? I briefly went over this. The recordings are available inside of the chat for a period of time. You will always have access to it. The presenter, the meeting inviter will always have access to it in the chat. It's only available for a limited time to the external users who were invited to the meeting. You get the Outlook inbox invite, so you can access it, click on that link, and it takes you directly to the recording. And now it is stored inside of your OneDrive. And people are like, okay, well, what's the difference between like that OneDrive and Stream? The difference is because you were not able to share your recordings directly from Stream. It was considered an external source, so you wouldn't have those capabilities. Now, as long as your organization allows you to share externally from your OneDrive, you can select that file by right-clicking on it and clicking share, and then put your the recipient's email address inside of that share and share it with them directly. So you're not having to download it out of Stream, then put it into your OneDrive, and then share out the link, or putting it into a universal cloud storage so you can deliver it to them, because they're typically too large to email to other people. I do want to add one more feature in here. We just got a notification that Microsoft is going to be rolling out the abilities to do registration. So if you're going to be hosting webinars and you have, or you've been hosting webinars and you're using Zoom and you have a Office 365 or M365 Office subscription, you have the ability now. It's going to be rolling out at the end of the month and through the middle of May. They roll it out by different tenants, and so it might be a little bit longer for your organization. But what they're rolling out is now you can host those webinars, you can send out those meeting requests, you can have a registration link inside of there, so you can do the same as what you're doing with the Zoom meetings also. Any questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into the live demo here. So if we just hold off one moment. Let's see. Sorry about that. Okay. Share the other screen. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from a participant side. So I set up a meeting with, I have two different accounts here. So if you notice that it's my initials on both of them, they are different accounts. I just wanted to see what this looked like. So you can see that there's a welcome meeting, welcome to Teams meeting on this calendar. And when I go into the Teams calendar, I have that available also. If I go into this meeting, I have the ability to chat with the participants. I can copy that link and send that link out to everyone. I have the ability to accept that meeting. I hadn't accepted, I just joined it previously. So I can join from this end here. Before we do that, I want to show you on our team side here. Flip over. So I'm going to go over your meeting settings here. So inside of a meeting settings here, I talked to you about the chat portion of it. I started this earlier so you guys could get a full visual representation of like what this looks like when you start those meetings. You can tell who's joined the meeting, the name of the meeting, who all was invited, what time it was started, and then these are meeting notes that you have available. These are your meeting notes. They are not shared with everyone else. You do have the ability to share them with everyone. Also, you have the ability to download the attendance who attended those meetings. So if I go ahead and let's go back here. I'm going to edit this and my meeting options. When you click on meeting options, you will always be directed to the web browser view. And from here, can you guys see my screen? Just wanted to double check. Okay, good. From here, this is where you set up your meeting options. Who can bypass that lobby? You know, if you're the presenter, I always say, and you're presenting outside your organization, I recommend that you set up that lobby, have everyone wait who are outside of your organization. Always if you want to just have it open, you can always let them bypass it. The announcing callers when they join or leave, some people find that disruptive and they don't want it to appear in their presentation or in their recordings. So you can turn that off. It's just a little bit hard. If you do have that turned off, you'll definitely want to let the callers bypass that lobby. So you're not having to admit them into the meeting. Who can present? This is where you change that option. People inside the organization, specific people. If you know in advance that someone else is going to be presenting, you can choose that specific person. And then only me, these are obviously all of your options. Allow attendees to unmute themselves. Yes, because sometimes there are points where you have to mute everyone or mute a person because they're just having some technical difficulties, or they're not aware that they're unmuted. So once you mute them, you don't have those abilities to unmute them. They have to unmute themselves. Allow the chat inside of a meeting. Some people find this disruptive, you know, when you're chatting back and forth and there's communication going on, you know, there's sometimes some notification sounds that are going, that are, excuse me, that show up. And so this, you can say whether or not you want that chat to show up. And then the reactions, I'll show you what those reactions are. One of them is being that hand raise feature. So we're going to, I saved those options, it's done. I'm going to join as myself.
Hey, Brandy.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we're actually only just seeing your desktop right now, not the team.
Oh, no. I thought I got a good head nod there, sorry. Okay, now you probably can see it. So let me pull this back up. Did you, do you want me to show you guys that portion really quick? Let me go back here.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So I'm gonna go back to that edit portion. This is where we went into those meeting options. I talked about like the chat files and scheduling assistance and the meeting notes and your like your whiteboard option. You can get directly to your notes here in your attendance list there, then your meeting options. So the meeting options, this is where you're able, you can see which meeting you're specifically setting these up for and who can bypass. So click that little drop down. This is where you can see who can bypass the lobby. This is the one that I had pointed out that if you're going to, for the announcing callers, or if you're going to set up the lobby, who can bypass the lobby, if you're going to set it up to where there is a lobby, you'll want to probably let the callers, sorry about that, let the callers bypass the lobby if you're going to be turning off this, like when the caller joins and leaves. It's just a little bit harder to track that. Who can present? This is where you can set up the people inside of my organization and guest or specific people. And this allowed attendees to unmute. This is a really important one again, because if you mute them, you cannot unmute them. They have to unmute themselves. And allow the chat inside of a meeting and allow reactions. And remember the chat, sometimes it can be disruptive, but also it can be helpful for people who do not have audio. If you do have conference calling, then you do have the ability to, you have that ability to have them call into a meeting. They may not be able to, they'll be able to view it on their screen, but they can also get the audio part where they can chat and they can communicate via their phone if they call in. That is additional licensing. So now I'm going to join from my account. So right here, I'm going to say block this option here. So if I choose to block joining a meeting, I'm going to continue without audio. When I click that continue without audio, I can't turn my sound on. I can't turn my camera on. So I want to, if I want to change that setting, it shows you exactly where you need to change that. There's going to be a little box up here, and I hope you can see that over the controls. Can I unpin this? Let's go ahead and click on this. Oh, there's 7 chats here. I wonder if you guys have a lot of questions. Apologize here. Let me minimize this. So now I can always allow access and then click done. When you do that, it will take you back to, it should take you back to that invite screen for you to join. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer here. I'm going to join the meeting. And now I have the option to join with my camera or keep my microphone on. I am going to turn both of these off just for the sake of that we are already in a meeting and I don't want a lot of feedback. It'll be pretty loud. I do want to also point out this add a room. Say that you're going to be in a webinar session where you want some breakout rooms where you want to group people off. This is where you can set up those breakout rooms here. It's pretty helpful. A lot of teachers started using it in their classrooms also. And then the other join options, that's the same feature that we had just gone over. Now, when I join here, so now I have those, all of my Teams meeting features available to me. I have the ability to start your recording, end a meeting, pull up the meeting notes that you have here. The meeting notes, you have them pop up on the side. If you are using the desktop application, it's going to pop out in a separate window. Your meeting and your notes will be separate. So how to access your meeting notes, well, how to access them is by clicking on the ellipsis and go into your meeting notes. And then who can access them? Everyone can access their own notes. And then you have the ability to share them out. The participants, want to point this out here. So say that you're in a meeting and there's someone who's supposed to be in that meeting and they're inside of your organization. You can go ahead and send an invite to them. And I can go in here and click that. You're going to notice, so it's going to show unavailable at this time. Now, my other account here, we're going to go, I'm going to turn off this notification so it doesn't pop up here. This other person hasn't arrived into the meeting yet, and you want to get that meeting started. You can click on this ellipsis and you can call them. So now it's going to call them, send a notification. We hear a little. So now I got a notification on my screen. Let's see if it pops up over here. So now I can accept that. Also wanted to go back to that one. So I'm going to join without the audio so we don't get any feedback here. And now I'm connected inside of that meeting. All right. Let me move this one down here. I did show you how to add the person who say that you needed to invite them, that they're inside of the organization. You can search here. You can also click on this to share that invite, and that's where you get you're able to copy that invite and email to somebody. Down here, this is how you can download your attendance list, allow your attendees to unmute themselves, and then manage additional permissions inside of here. Go back here. So settings, this actually, I'll show you this part here also. So it shows that I'm in a call right now. So it didn't automatically put it to do not disturb. The moment that I put it in a presentation, I'm sharing my screen, it will go to that do not disturb. Be right back. This is one that you can put on yourself. Be right back. This peering away one. This one is pretty tricky. If you're trying to get a hold of somebody and it shows that they appear to be away and you're like, well, I'll message them when they come back. This one, I would still message them and they'll get a notification that you send a chat. This one just pretty inconsistent with appearing away. It's usually around the time of whenever there's an update coming out. And you can also hit that reset status there at the bottom. Set a message. This is one where you can just say, that you're presenting. And whenever you can choose the option also to show this when people message me. So if I'm in a do not disturb status and I have a message up here, I can tell them to display that message whenever they send me a chat. You can say for how long. Is it an hour, 4 hours, or is it just for today? Okay, I'm going to go to our chat here and see, do we have any questions in here? Okay, this is all just around your guys' questions. Okay. Any questions? Anybody? Let's see if and we did cover everything. If we do not have any other questions, this concludes our training for today. And please feel free to send me a message if you do have additional questions or looks like we have another little chat here. Let's see. Thank you, appreciate it. Again, if you guys have any questions or would like any additional training, you can go ahead and contact us. I think Katie was the one who set this up for with Integrity, or you can get my email and we can set up some additional training if needed. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Brandy.
Yep.
We appreciate you taking the time to inform our membership on how to have better remote meetings via Teams. Again, if you guys need more information, you can get in contact with Brandy directly or with Integrity. The Chamber would once again like to recognize our April Video Resource Library sponsor, the Shirk Family Foundation. Because of their generous contributions, we're able to provide you with these informational sessions free of charge. If you are just joining us or need to reference back to this presentation, be sure to check out recording of today's member ed on our members only resource library at mcleancochamber.org. This concludes our member ed. So thank you everyone for joining us today.